Hello. ഹലോ ഹലോ സൗമ്യ സൗമ്യ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? ഹലോ ഹലോ സൗമ്യ ഹലോ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
യെസ് ടീച്ചർ.
ഹലോ പ്രിയ പ്രിയ ഷീല ഓഡിബിൾ ആണോ? ഷീല
ഓഡിബിൾ ആണ് ടീച്ചർ. ഓഡിബിൾ ആണ്.
സൗമ്യ ഒന്ന് വിളിക്കട്ടെ. ഓക്കെ. ഹലോ ഹലോ നമുക്ക് പ്രോഗ്രാം തുടങ്ങാമെന്ന് പറയായിരുന്നു ജോജു. പ്രിയ
Yes, teacher, I'm here. Yes.
ഓക്കെ.
Actually, the sound is not audible, teacher. It is reciprocating.
രണ്ട് ഓഡിയോ ഓൺ ആയതുകൊണ്ടാ.
Hello.
പ്രിയ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം.
Yes, teacher, start ചെയ്യാം. ഞാൻ പറയാം, എന്റെ സൗണ്ട് തന്നെ റെസിപ്രോക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്തോണ്ടിരിക്കുക. അപ്പൊ അതാണ് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചത്, എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇഷ്യൂസ് ആണോ എന്നുള്ളതാ. ഫൈൻ ആണോ ടീച്ചർ? ഞാൻ shall I start?
ഓക്കെ പ്രിയ.
Yes, thank you. So, a warm good evening on and all. I am Priya on behalf of Madhya Plus Training College. At Madhya Plus Training College, a research scholar. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all honorable dignitaries, teachers, and dear participants. It's my intense pleasure to welcome you all for the today's Insight Invited talk. So, for the first we start with the program. Let me have a let me have a smooth content of the program. We should have to mute the audio. So we have the all should hello, is it audible, sir? Hello.
Yes, Priya.
Is it audible?
Audible Priya, audible.
Something wrong with okay. Okay, before start our program, let's have a pause for the invocation of the Almighty. So let's pause for the moment for the what. Hello. To invoke the invitees, so let's have a pause for the prayer. Hello, Soumya. Hello.
സന്തതം സർവമംഗളം നൽകി മണ്ണിൽ വാഴുന്ന പുണ്യമേ വന്ദനം ജീവസ്പന്ദനം തീർത്ത സ്നേഹമേ നിത്യവന്ദനം സന്തതം സർവമംഗളം നൽകി മണ്ണിൽ വാഴുന്ന പുണ്യമേ വന്ദനം ജീവസ്പന്ദനം തീർത്ത സ്നേഹമേ നിത്യവന്ദനം ഈ മനോഹര ഭൂമിയിൽ പൂത്ത ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ വേദിയിൽ സത്യമായി തെളിയുമേ മുക്ത ദീപമേ നിത്യവന്ദനം ഈ മനോഹര ഭൂമിയിൽ പൂത്ത ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ വേദിയിൽ സത്യമായി തെളിയുമേ മുക്ത ദീപമേ നിത്യവന്ദനം വന്ദനം വന്ദനം വന്ദനം.
Thank you. The world's greatest achievers have been those who have focused on their goals and have been consistent in their efforts. Helping one person might not change the whole world, but it could change the world for a one person. So, I would like to invite Mrs. Soumya to deliver the welcome speech. Over to you, Soumya.
Sorry, Priya, Soumya is not here available, so I will do the welcome speech.
Okay. Thank you, Sunila.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sunila Manoj, Research Scholar, Multi-Plus Training College. Let me first of all thank Almighty for this wonderful opportunity. Let me welcome everyone to this wonderful Insight in Depth. It's 62nd talk of the series. Let me first of all welcome our principal, Dr. K.Y. Bendick, sir, who is the backbone of our institution. Welcome, dear sir. Next, let me welcome our research coordinator, Dr. Bindu ma'am. Thank you, Bindu ma'am, for being here. Welcome, dear Bindu ma'am. Our today's guest of honor is Dr. Sunila Thomas, Assistant Professor, Title II, Teachers, Tiruvalla. Her talk for today is Know Your Learner. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. Welcome to this Insight in Depth. Thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome all the teachers, research scholars, all the research guides, everyone present here, all the participants. Welcome to our Insight in Depth. Thank you for being here and welcome everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Sunila. Thank you. So it's our distinct honor and high privilege to introduce our guest and speaker of today's Insight Invited Talk. So we are indeed delighted to have you have a noted eminent figure for this golden opportunity. So to know more about our guest, I would like to invite Akamsha to have the introduction of our guest. So over to you, Akamsha.
Thank you, Priya. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
A very warm good evening to all the dignitaries and participants present here. It is a great honor for me to introduce today's distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Sunila Thomas, ma'am, Associate Professor, Titus Training College, Tiruvalla, a celebrated personality in the field of education. Ma'am holds the position of Chairperson of Boards of Studies in Education, MG University, Kottayam. She is also a member of Academic Council and Chairperson, Practical Board, MG University, Kottayam. Ma'am has an illustrious teaching experience of over 27 years in higher education sector and has supervised 4 PhDs. Ma'am has also shared her expertness as a resource person at various renowned international, national, state, and university level seminars and programs. We are indeed very fortunate to have her on our virtual platform today. I welcome you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Akanksha. So, ma'am, we are indeed privileged to have you as our chief guest, speaker of today's Insights Invited Talk. So, once again, I heartily welcome you, sir.
Okay,
Ma'am,
Priya,
so
ma'am,
the
one
platform
second.
is yours. Over to you.
I'm extremely happy to welcome Dr. Sunila Thomas, ma'am, our resource person of the day. She is with us with a very novel topic, very useful topic in the sense that it is knowing the learner, very much useful for all of us. And so, first of all, I would like to congratulate our resource person for becoming professor in education. Only last week she got the order. And on behalf of Martyr Training College Research Wing, I once again welcome you, ma'am. I'm very much happy to welcome because there was, when I approached for a session, there was not even a word of denial from her side. That was a great sign of her dedication towards educational professional achievements. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Vinanda.
Yes, audible, ma'am.
So I request the audience to please switch off mute their mic. So very good evening to one and all present here. I am Dr. Sunila Thomas. I am working at Titus Second Teachers College. I was a student of Titus Second Teachers College also. So as a student and as a teacher, and with my experience as a school teacher also before joining college in 1994, I get to know more things, and that was my experience. So today I thought, okay, I'll share with you what I learned from my experience, because as research scholars, especially in the field of education, we are the renovators. Actually, we are to bring the educational system. And the main component of educational system is the learners. Without the learners, no education takes place. So from my knowledge, and I'm sure you'll be having more experience, but from my experience, I thought I will share something. And being a maths teacher, I thought I would relate some of the things. My title and all those things may be related to a mathematical term and all. Don't worry about it. Let me just share my screen. Please see if it's clear to you. Okay. Is it clear? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So I thought, knowing the learner. When you know the learner, we need to know many things. That is why I thought of introducing my topic using the mathematical terms, adding and subtracting to multiply the dividends. You might be confused why I've used all this, adding and subtracting to multiply the dividends. Why is that? So before that, what are we to add and what are we to subtract to get something? We are adding some ingredients to enrich our teaching. We need to subtract our prejudices about our learners, and we are going to multiply the joy of learning the subject among learners. When you add some ingredients to your teaching, when you subtract your prejudices about our learners, definitely you are going to multiply the joy of learning the subject among learners, because that is what is more important in the present scenario. How can our students be enriched with the joy of learning the subject? So for that, the first aspect I told you, adding some ingredients to our teaching, because with regard to research and education, we might be either focusing on the teaching aspect or the learning aspect or even the evaluation aspect. That is why I thought of, breaking up my session into three. In a nutshell, I'd be dealing with teaching, learning, and evaluation or the assessment aspect. So to enrich our teaching, we should first know what is teaching. So what is teaching? Teaching is actually, it is an engagement with learners to enable their understanding and application of knowledge, concepts, and process. Are you seeing my screen? Is it possible for you to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
When it's possible, please change it to slideshow mode, ma'am.
Pardon?
Slideshow mode, if possible, please
Yeah,
change
it is
it
in
to
the
slideshow.
slideshow mode actually, but I think my laptop is not in an upgraded version. So that is why I had a doubt. Let me see. You are still in my first slide, I think, isn't it?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's it. That's the problem. Okay. Anyway, let me see if I can share any important thing. What I'm saying is if communicable to you, no? What I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So actually it is an engagement with learners to enable their understanding and application of knowledge, concepts, and process. And teaching actually in the present scenario is actually getting students involved in the active construction of knowledge. We have to get, earlier it was like we have to develop the concept or we have to develop an understanding about the concept. We have to inculcate in them the habit of applying the knowledge that they got. But in the present scenario, it is actually getting students involved in the active construction of knowledge, that we all know about it. And for that, teaching is not only to transmit the information, but you have to transform young learners into active learners. So each point that I say is a topic of research actually. So how can we transform our young learners into active learners? For that, we know we use variety of teaching methods also. So the methods I need not tell you again, but some method based on my research experience, cooperative learning was one strategy which we can use, and I'm using continuously in my classroom situation in the present scenario also. So cooperative learning, as you know, it is actually a learning strategy where the students are assigned in different groups to work on different tasks. For that, Jigsaw model. Bindu ma'am, if I send my material to you, will you be able to share it from there? Because my laptop is not in an upgraded version. Bindu ma'am? Bindu?
Yes. Yes. Please send it to me by WhatsApp, ma'am. I'll try.
Okay. Just a minute. One second. Bindu ma'am, can you please check? Bindu ma'am? Hello? Hello?
Hello, ma'am. One second. Okay.
You got my...
One second, ma'am. I got it, but I couldn't download it.
Okay.
Joju,
I know that.
Joju, are there, Joju?
Pardon?
Joju, sir?
Because in my laptop, I can see that. Are you able to do it?
Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't download it. There's some problem.
Okay. So what should I do then? I'm not able to share the screen now. Okay, with the limited thing, let me, for each thing, I think I'll take the current slide. Then you might be able, are you able to see that now? Are you able to see this?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if possible, please present it one more time, ma'am. Then it will be okay.
Pardon? Pardon?
Stop your sharing and present it. Share the screen once again, ma'am. Then it will be okay sometimes.
Okay, let me try that. Let me try that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Are you able to see this?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it
Now,
written?
ma'am, what is teaching?
Yeah, okay, good.
Ma'am, in the bottom, there is a slideshow mode. You can just
What?
click on it, ma'am.
Bottom or top, I have the slideshow mode. Shall I press that?
Bottom right side, there is 3 icons.
Bottom right side, 3 icons.
Yes, ma'am. That one.
Okay. Now it's clear. Are you able to see it?
Now we can see, but it didn't change to slideshow mode, ma'am.
It's in the slideshow now. Teaching in the present scenario. That's the slide that I'm sharing now.
Teaching is an engagement with learners.
You're seeing that. Okay. Let me see. I got the slideshow mode here. But then why? I don't know.
It's okay, ma'am. You can just change it. I think it will change. Now it is not in the slideshow, ma'am, but it's okay. Teaching in the present scenario is the slide that we are seeing now.
Okay, good.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Now you can see, getting students involved in the active construction of knowledge. Are you able to see that?
Yes, ma'am. That is the slide. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So then I said teaching is not only to transmit information, but also to transform young learners into active learners. So for that, I said teaching methods are there. We have been learning and we are practicing many of the teaching methods. And one such method is cooperative learning, which I said it is actually a learning strategy where students are assigned in different groups to work on different tasks. For that, one model which I did my research on is Jigsaw Model, where the teacher gives general introduction about the topic and each group is made to practice, master the topic. For that, I just assign the topic to each group. First group is P, second group is A, third group is R, and fourth group is T. Purposely I've given these names because it becomes a part of learning, P-A-R-T. And I'll tell you later what P stands for, A stands for, R stands for, and T stands for. So in the first phase, this is how we do. We actually assign the topic and each group is made to master on the topic. And in the second phase, the groups can be reshuffled in such a way that each member of the new topic forms a new group. Here you can see group 1 comprises of a member of part 1, P1, A1, R1, T1. Similarly, group 2, group 3, and group 4. And the next phase, we can see that they all assemble together, and the teacher can question or give quizzes to find out how much they have learned. So in this, each individual gets to know the whole portion by teaching and learning from each other. And there is also a positive interdependence, and it promotes face-to-face interaction, and there is individual accountability also. So there are different methods. Why I'm telling you that these methods are effective? Because learning should become an equal responsibility of each learner there. Only when the learner has a role to play, they sit in class. So when we do research also, it is our responsibility as a researcher how we have to do. When we get a role to do, it becomes our responsibility. And learning should not be a burden. There should be a positive interdependence, and there should be a face-to-face interaction also, and individual accountability is essential also. So with this learning, I thought, okay, I can present you with a small video, a game where you are expected to participate. Are you seeing the slide? Is my slide moving? Can you see it?
Sorry, ma'am, slides are not moving still. It is in the teaching in the present scenario.
Still in the present scenario, okay. That is it. Then how can I show this? I don't know. I had a video to show you. Let me see. Now can you see?
Now the screen is present.
Pardon?
Yes,
Pardon?
ma'am. Sheila, ma'am is presenting now.
Okay.
The screen
But
is stop now.
Okay, but I think the video I will have to send it again, no? Then only she can do it. Just see if the video is there.
If the link is in the slide, sometimes she can.
No, I'll send the video. I'll have to send it by mail. Can you just WhatsApp me her mail? I can send the video to her now itself. Because with that only I can. Pardon?
Sheila, ma'am, please say your email ID, please. Sheila Shine.
Sheila Shine. SHEELA. SHEELA. Sheila Shine. SHINE.
Okay.
Sheila, corrected.
Is it at gmail.com?
Yeah, gmail.com. Gmail.com.
Teacher Sheila Shine 80
80.
at gmail.com.
80 at gmail.com.
Okay. 1 second. Sheila Shine 80 at gmail.com, isn't it?
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. It's in the chat box, ma'am. Kindly check,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I've sent it. I've sent it to her. I've sent the mail. If you can, please open the video. It would be nice. Otherwise, I'll just proceed with the next topic. But I wanted to connect it actually. I've sent it by mail. Bindu ma'am, could Sheila ma'am get the video?
No, ma'am.
You didn't get it by mail?
No, ma'am.
No, I had already sent it. Please check again. Sheila 80.
Shine. Sheila Shine.
Sheila Shine. Yeah, 80 at Gmail.
Gmail.com.
Wait.
Shine, SHINE.
Yes. Sheila Shine 80 at gmail.com. I am sending it again. Okay, please check, ma'am. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I was trying to share the screen, but I know that my laptop has a problem. I tried another laptop also. Did you get it, Sheila ma'am?
No, ma'am.
No, it is sent. No?
No.
Okay, then I think I'll have to stick on to what I have and I'll just present it. I wanted the video to be shown. It is just actually a game.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Got it? Sheila ma'am, you got it, no? Volume has to be there, I think. Video. Volume. Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think for me it's not audible. That's why. Please see if you can identify or locate the numbers fast.
Audio is not there, ma'am.
That's what I asked. Whether I cannot hear it, but whether it is audible there.
Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, dear participants. Hope you observed the game and hope you could identify the numbers as described there. This is, Sheila ma'am, can I move on to the next slide? Can I move on to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
So, why I showed this?
Still, that video
Can
is
you see?
audible in the background, ma'am.
Yeah, I think you have to switch it off. Yes. You know why I showed this video? These numbers are just our students. As teachers or as researchers, are we able to identify or locate them with their appropriate characteristics? That is why I selected the topic Know Your Learner itself. Because each learner is different from the other person. As a teacher or as a researcher, how can we identify the learners? Unless a teacher knows the characteristics of a learner, unless a teacher knows how a learner learns, the mode of his learning, or the learning style of the learner, no teaching becomes effective, because each child needs or need to be catered according to his preferred mode of learning. So this video is to show how as teachers we should be keen observers in class. As researchers we should be keen observers in class. Can I get the other slide, Sheila ma'am? Moving on to. So as researcher, how can we be keen observers? So for that, we need to know that learners have a preferred mode of learning. So when you say learning style, even we, all of us have a particular or preferred mode of learning style. So you might have heard of many modes of learning, like visual, auditory, kinesthetic learners. You might have heard about introvert, extrovert. So many types are there. But like, I have experienced another type of category of learners, namely they are pragmatist. Can I get the slide, Sheila ma'am? Next slide. Thanks. Move on. Proceed. Next. Please, next. Proceed. Move. Next slide. Yes. Are you able to see? Yes. They are the 4 types of learners. Let me tell you, they are not learners alone. Even we belong to some of these characters. I have categorized them as 4 learners, 4 types of learners. They are pragmatists, activists, reflectors, and theorists. Let's see the characteristic of each learning style. So pragmatists, next slide, ma'am. Sheila ma'am, next slide. You can see pragmatists. Actually, from the name itself, we know they want to try out ideas. They want to try out the application of theories. They won't simply learn a theory. They need to know why we are learning this. Even in our school days, many of us would have asked our teachers, ma'am, why are we learning all this? Where is it being used? So some of them want to know how it is used, and then only they learn. They're actually impatient with many of the discussions. They are actually weak on tackling abstract ideas. They need to have concrete experience. So they learn better when they are exposed to doing. That is why pragmatists is a category, and you can see even some of us are also pragmatists. And the other category is, can I move on to the next? The other category is activist. There you can see they are actually very vibrant mode of people. They initiate discussions. They are not bothered about the consequences. They don't want to hear a detailed lecture, but they need sum and substance of everything. They want to do something. They want to try out something new. Always, vibrant in class. Very dynamic. Whatever questions you ask, they might come out with sudden ideas. There are some students, or there are some of us are also like that. We have ideas very fast, you keep. So that category is called activist. And the other category is, the next one is reflectors. There you can see, reflectors take time to think over many of the things, and then only they'll act. And they want to listen to experts' ideas. They'll get all ideas from others. Then only they'll start reacting also. Some of us are like that. I'll give you the example. And the other category is theorist. In theorist, they want detailed information. The next slide. So there, they need detailed information. They want to learn everything in a systematic way. Such students have notes also. They take on the lecture notes carefully. In class also, they want to know everything directly from teacher or directly from a resource or anything of that sort. So they prefer to learn in a systematic way. Suppose these four characters, pragmatist, activist, reflectors, and theorist, they are given a cycle each. Just imagine a life situation. What happens to the pragmatist is, he'll get the help of other people and say, please help me. I want to write the cycle. So what should I do first? What should I do next? Or after getting step-by-step help, they can take the cycle with the help of a person. If it is a reflector, he will just observe what others are doing. He'll just see what happens when the person takes a cycle. Will he be falling, or will he be able to go smoothly? How is he managing with his brake and all those things? And during a turn, how is he taking in a slopey area? How is he doing? All these things are being visualized by a reflector. The theorist, actually, they want to know a detailed information about it. Somehow from net or from Google or from any manual, they'll search a detailed information about the cycle and learn about it, the different parts of it, and then only they'll start. Usually at home also it happens. We buy home appliances. Some of us are very energetic. We want to try it immediately. But maybe our partners are not like that. They want to read the manual fully and then decide on how to do it. So some call for help from others and get the help and then operate it. And activists, you know what happens to activists? They don't bother about the consequences. They just take the cycle and go, and even if they fall, no issue at all. They want to try everything. They are very risky people, adventurous also. But when such people are in class, very lively discussions take place, because even without thinking about the consequences of it, the learner just encourages discussion. He wants to be the star of a group. So, as pragmatist, as activist, as theorist, and reflectors, the learning mode is different. If the teacher knows how these people can be catered, things become easy. Even in our family, we have our students, we have our children of these characters. We might be of one character, one style. Our partner may be of a different style. Children may be of a different style. Unless we know these styles, we will not be able to go hand in hand. So, as a teacher, the role of a teacher changes here. The role of a teacher then becomes a facilitator, co-learner, mentor, scaffolder. So, teacher has to enrich her knowledge about each learning style and decide how the child can be catered. So moving on to the next slide, we can see what is actually learning. So learning, initially we knew learning is modification of behavior. Please, yes. And then we saw it is actually process of gaining knowledge through experience. And moving on to the next slide, we can see learning actually in the present scenario is constructing knowledge through experience. Because I told you there are 4 categories of learners. Each learner has to be catered. For that, we need to give them experience. And that is where the role of, the next slide, the role of experiential learning comes. This is also an area to be researched, because how we can cater to the learning styles of each learner is essential. In classroom situation, you give them experience. The cycle we have learned already. I've just given a cycle. The next slide shows about the learning theory, experiential learning theory by David A. Cald. Actually, David A. Cald's categorization of learners has been given by by me as pragmatists, activists, reflectors, and theorists. Hope you remember the Jigsaw model where I used PART. Actually, these are the 4 groups of learners I use there. Pragmatist. P stands for pragmatist, A stands for activist, R stands for reflectors, and T stands for theorists. And they become a part of learning. That is why I used those 4 groups for my learning scenario. And you can see the cycle in the experiential learning. Please move on to the next slide. We know it. Concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, active experimenting. These 4 categories of learners belong to the categories. Concrete experience, pragmatists belong to that category. They need experience to do. Practical application of a concept is essential. Reflective observation, reflectors think over and then only decide. Abstract conceptualization is done by theorists. Active experimenting is always done by activists. So we may have more than one mode of learning. We may have a combination of 2 learning styles also, but we have a preferred mode. So that is why experiential learning is essential to be incorporated in our system of education. Whatever we teach, we need to have this system of education. Focus on experiential learning, and there we can cater to the learning styles of learners. But then comes, even though learning is effectively given, we need to know how far they have attained. So we need to assess our students, because I told you teaching, learning, and evaluation or assessment are the essential criteria of research or essential criteria of a classroom teaching. So what are the ways of assessing our learners? So actually assessment means some methods or tools used to assess. So the evaluate, measure, or document the academic readiness, learning progress, skill acquisition. You all know all these things. Now the 3 forms of assessment. That is in the next slide. You can see the dimensions of assessment. Assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. We have learned all this, but I just want to relate these things with an athletic platform. So assessment of learning means how well they are learning, how much they have learned, what have they attained. So my next slide talks about a description of assessment of learning. It is the assessment that becomes public, which decides the future of students, the final exam and all those things. My next slide gives you an example of the assessment of learning. Yes, the final athletic meet. Who comes in the first place, second, runner-up, and all those things. So this, the public comes to know. That is why the summative assessment is the final result of something. And what about assessment for learning? Assessment for learning is, it is the assessment that happens during the learning process. We call it formative also. Actually, assessment for learning is very essential because it helps the learner to improve his learning. So it also helps the teacher to find out how far the learner has followed the lesson. For that, we might be using questioning, oral test, sudden test, quiz, etc. In relation to the athletic platform, my slide shows 2 types of assessment of learning, for learning. One is diagnostic assessment. Before the sportsman starts, he has to check his shoes. He has to check his defects. So in the diagnostic assessment, the teacher helps the learner to check the assessment. Whether there is any difficulty, that difficulty or hindrance has to be removed first. And also, during the process of learning, you can see in the slide there, the coach is running along with the person to help the person overcome the situation. So any difficulty, the coach is encouraging, throughout encouraging. So that should happen in our learning system also. So assessment for learning, diagnostic assessment and formative assessment helps in that to improve the learner assessment. So the next comes, you can see the next one is assessment as learning. It is actually the assessment through which the students are able to learn about themselves and become aware of how they learn. You can see the small picture given in the slide. Can you see? You can see a person looking at the mirror. It is the self-assessment. Before we go outside, we look ourselves in front. I mean, we stand in front of a mirror and look at ourselves. Whether there is any problem, are we fine? Are we okay? So self-assessment is the most essential component of assessment as learning. Unless a learner decides to learn, no learning takes place. So that is why I would like to say the picture shows the importance of self-assessment. Along with that, you can see peer assessment also. Others can assess you. For that, I have a slide to show with the sports pattern. Can you just move on to the next slide? Just move on to the next slide. Yes. This is called the interim slide. Please, the back slide. When you run along with your friends, you're trying to find out where you are, your position among your peers. That is also important. Peer assessment can be assessment by a peer, in a group where you stand. That is also very essential as for us to have assessment as learning. Because assessment as learning talks about self-assessment, peer assessment, and portfolio assessment also, because portfolio shows how far the work has been completed, what has been done, how it has been beneficial to you. So interim assessment is a term I just used there. You can see it is to find out where you stand among your peer members. So that also helps us to assess ourselves. So that is why assessment as learning is also important. So how does assessment help a teacher? That is what my next slide shows. To determine what to teach, how to teach, and how effective was the teaching. I told you, in an education setup, we need a teaching component, we need a learning component, and we need an evaluation or an assessment component. So assessment is the ultimate of everything, because that only helps the teacher to find out how far her teaching was effective. That only helps to find out what more can be taught, what more the learner needs to know, and how it can be modified or given in a diversified mode where learners of different learning styles are there. Each learner has to be catered according to his needs. I told you, and my next slide just talks, can you just show, about the issues, because learning in the normal scenario we have been doing it. Please don't move now. Okay, learning in the normal scenario we have been going on. But now due to COVID pandemic condition, most of the issues started arising. And some of the issues only I have just focused, and how we can overcome is also given. So the first issue that we saw is, the next slide shows, online learning problems. Almost all of us were facing these problems during our 2-year pandemic condition. We experienced, and especially the school teachers were experiencing all these things. Varying degree of attention span, no proper supervision by teachers was there. The learning styles and the teaching styles do not match. That is an important aspect, because if the teaching style and the learning style are in a good match, the learner will be effectively following the lesson. As young learners, when we were in school, we used to like some teachers, whereas our friends may not be able to like those teachers. It's just because our learning style and the teaching style of the teacher are matching. If they are matching, our learning becomes effective. Because if a teacher is a reflector and if the learner is an activist, there is a drastic shift in the learning process in the class. The reflector will say, think, and then only tell the answer. The activist learner will be coming out with sudden ideas. So it does not match. If the teacher is a pragmatist and the learner is a theorist, again there will be a problem, because the pragmatist teacher will be giving step-by-step help to the learners, where the learners don't need that. A theorist or a reflector do not need it. So they want to learn systematically on their own and then do it. If the teacher is an activist and the learner is a reflector, again the problem comes, because the teacher wants a sudden answer and the learner is still thinking and coming out with the possible solutions. So that is why, as young learners or as learners, if the learning style and the teaching styles do not match, again issue comes. And when it comes to a digital platform, it will be worse because we are not seeing the faces of the students and no emotional attachment. You can see how the schools are functioning now. The students have come back and they learn nothing. They have learned nothing all these years, 2 years, and no emotional attachment towards the school. Now they are slowly gaining all this. So connectivity and all these learning, online learning problems can be considered as research topics. What happened during the COVID pandemic situation. And there are other issues also. I just want to go through just all these things. Physical ailments were there. You can see all these things. Without the physical involvement, knowledge construction was not possible. As we said, experiential learning and the learning styles were not catered. Again to the next slide. Peer interaction and peer support is not possible in an online learning platform. So that is again a problem. All these things happened during the COVID pandemic condition. Please, can you move on to the next slide? Yes, the mental health was again at risk and it leads to suicidal tendencies among learners. The students were agitated, frustrated also. For that, there is a remedy for us, and that is what my next slide says, social emotional learning. Why I especially focused on these things are, these are the areas to be researched. Many areas can be taken because social emotional learning, where the emotional balance of the learner is essential in a social setup. Now the learners are not in a social setup. Though they have come to a social setup, they are not conditioned to how to sit in classroom also. So how to promote the social emotional learning comes as the next slide. What are the competencies that we have to focus on enhancing social emotional learning? They need to have self-awareness, self-management. They need to have responsible decision-making skills. They need to have social awareness. They need to have interpersonal skills that are vital for their college or school work or success in life. And my next slide talks about how to construct knowledge on a digital platform. How can we make our learning effective in an online platform? We always, though we have switched over to the offline mode, we still have the online platform. So what can be done? Most of the teachers complain that the students, they come, switch on the ID and they are not present there. So what can be done to overcome such situations is my next slide. This talks about, see, how can we do that? One is, we need to have virtual reality in class. We have to assign roles to students to take seminars in digital platform. And the main thing is the third and fourth one. Every class should start with a rapport creating session. As teachers, we directly enter into the class in an online platform and start discussing. But there should be a rapport creating, encouraging the learners to talk among themselves.
Hello. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Can you hear me? Yes, yes. I think something happened to my lap. I have come back. Okay, that was my last slide actually. So encouraging the learners to talk among themselves. We need to create rapport creating sessions there where the teacher can be silent for some time. Let the learners interact themselves. Because students should feel free to interact themselves. Let's make our online platform effective. So this is all what I would like to share with you. I just went through the teaching, learning and assessment pattern and also the social learning issues, emotional learning problems that happen during an online platform teaching and how we can overcome. So with much of disturbance, I don't know, somehow, I think you have followed some of the things.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sunila Thomas, ma'am.
Yes, Jojo sir.
Thomas,
Ahead.
ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your presence, magnetic presence. And I was going through your slides, well designed, perfect slides. And you have inspired us, ma'am. Your video on observation was really good. And this session was an eye opening session, very insightful. And you have dealt with the points in depth. Multiplus Training College is really indebted to you. Our research department is indebted to you. I would like to thank you on behalf of the research wing and all the research scholars and all the participants. We are really thankful to you, ma'am. Help us sometime in future too with your insightful talks, and we'll be uploading it in YouTube also, so that plenty of people will benefit out of it.
Thank you, sir. But I'm so unhappy that my slide was not in a presentable way for you, and it took my time. I mean, your time.
No,
Many of
no
the
problem, ma'am.
participants. That's it.
No problem, ma'am. Sometimes video presentation is really tough in G Suite. Actually, we have to upload it in Google Drive first. Otherwise, we have to directly present from YouTube. It's really tough. Zoom, it's
Right.
easy.
Okay.
But
That is a nice
Google Meet,
new information for me. Thank you.
either we'll get the audio or the video. Only one of these two. That's the problem. Thank you. We have really benefited, ma'am. Join us sometime in future too, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. The way you have inculcated the mathematic principles with the joy of learning, this subject has given the talk series a different dimension, ma'am. It was really interesting. And from the topic, Know Your Learner has deliberately reflected how the teacher should be a good researcher or how she becomes a good researcher all through the teaching learning process. And also you have mentioned about the assessment platforms, what to teach, how to teach, and how effective was teaching. Has made this section an effective, or this reflection was really great, ma'am. And also you have given a vivid picture about the problems that has been facing how the whole teaching learning process since we are facing a pandemic situation. So ma'am, in short, we can say that the topic was well and the talk series was very interesting, and it was thought-provoking. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So,
Sunila ma'am.
those who have the queries, yes.
Oh, Jimmy ma'am.
Yeah, Sunila ma'am.
Nice to see you here. Okay, good.
Ma'am, I'm not in a position to come to the video, ma'am. That's why. Okay, ma'am. Anyway, very well presentation.
No
Excellent
issue.
presentation.
I'm so happy with it.
Yeah, ma'am. Don't worry, because your powerful points work more effectively than the PowerPoints. With a sweet smile, ma'am. Full time. Very good. Very good. Okay, well explained. Well explained. Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming over here and giving your resources. And I would like to congratulate you for your professorship. You are the first. I think you are the
Oh,
first
thank
person
you.
in Gandhi University. Hats off. Hats off. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, now some of this I've got. So, ma'am, thank you for the help that you rendered. And thanks to the online platform provided by Madhyaklas, so that we could share our ideas like this, and I could also experience the learners over there, the audience over there. So thanks to Madhyaklas team, and I congratulate them for the efforts you take to throw insight into the learners' minds, researchers' minds. Okay, so congratulations to the research scholars also over there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, those who have the queries, kindly use this platform.
Ma'am, thank you for your presentation. Really, you did a great job. But I have still one doubt. You know, the government has put maximum effort to make the school teaching effective. But we know that, even 20% is only effective, means 80% has gone from the effective side. Can you please tell us what are the problems which have affected the ineffectiveness of online teaching? Because as we open the school, then only we could start from the beginning, whatever has been taught in the online. So can you please tell us where it has gone wrong? What has
Yes.
to be done to improvement in future years?
Let
Because
me
I am a
tell you.
teacher of,
Yeah, please,
yeah,
please.
I'm teaching in 10th standard in a school,
Are
English
you
teacher.
teaching in government, state syllabus school or?
Yeah. State
Okay.
government school. Yeah,
Let
government
me
school.
tell you one thing, sir. The same thing I've been observing these 2 years. From my experience, I can tell you, the state syllabus schools, they have a proper system of education, but the evaluation pattern has to be improved. The students as well as the parents, they have a feeling that even if they don't attend the class, they will pass. But that's not the case with CBSE or ICSE syllabus schools. The students were regularly attending there. And let me tell you, in the state syllabus, you might be saying that some of them had the internet problem and all, but that is a few. Majority of them, they switch on, they log into it and they are somewhere because they have a feeling that even if they do not attend the classes, they can pass. So the need for learning is not inculcated there. Unless our evaluation system changes, no learning can be effective. That fear is not there. The need for learning in our learners is not there. Even when the schools have reopened, we can experience the same thing. The teachers are struggling now to start from the initial part. In the online mode, even the parents are not bothered to find out whether the learners are attending the class. They too have a confidence that somehow they'll pass. So that attitude has to be changed. Unless that changes, online learning is not feasible in state syllabus schools. My experience, I'm just sharing because I've been observing the other set of students who are attending the class. If they are not attending, they will not get marks for the exam also. They will not be able to write. But the fear of failing in exam is not there in the state syllabus schools. I do appreciate the state syllabus schools because the mode of transaction and the way it has been constructed is superb. And as teacher educator, we have been doing that. But the evaluation system has to change. That attitude of students thinking that even if they do not attend, they will pass. That is the factor that leads to this sort of irresponsibility among the learners. That is what I have observed. I don't know, sir, whether you agree to it, but I am sure you are all running after students to take them back. Isn't it, sir?
Ma'am, okay, I do agree with you. What are the steps to be done to improve the quality of online teaching? I'm not talking for me alone, for the entire session. Because the government has put maximum effort to improve the capacity of online teaching, but still we know the reality means 20%. Still, I told you, because we start from the beginning, whatever they have learned has gone forever. It's a really sheer waste of time.
True. So that is where the last slide of mine has shown you have to assign roles to the students. They should feel as a responsible learner. If some part of the topic is to be presented by the learner, that learner will definitely be in the class. So if the topics are interconnected and if it's been assigned to students, as teacher, as a facilitator, let the learners present it. So it is their responsibility. Give them roles there. So you can initiate the effectiveness of learning from that first. Just try that, sir. There is a total change. There will be total change because that has to be there. Learner has to attend the class of another person and then only he can present his. He has to learn from others also. That attitude has to come. Give roles to the students. So that
Sunila ma'am,
yes.
Ma'am, shall I add something?
Yes.
Please. Yeah, I am
Yes.
Dr. Joju from Marketplace Training College. Now, the answer to this question is really complex. Actually, we cannot take a U-turn all on a sudden.
True.
Our culture has to improve. Human behavior has to improve. You see, in this platform, only one person is open with the video. That is the resource person. Now, that's a special attitude of care lives. So, in order to make online learning successful, we need a total cultural change. Now, in our platform also, one resource person from a foreign nation used to attend, and always his video was open. After 10-15 sessions, he also closed his video. He might be feeling that in India, when a session is going on, it is mandatory that video should be off and only the resource person should switch on the video. So, in order to make our online learning successful, it takes a few years of total cultural change, and we need to inculcate new habits in our students and new convictions in our students. Until and unless that happens, it's tough. But just as our resource person has pointed out, assigning duties, chats, plenty of techniques, interactive classes, plenty of methods can be made use of to make our learning sessions more vibrant. But since we are taking a U-turn, if we are too fast, the vehicle would slide. Since when we are taking a U-turn, it needs time. It needs human beings to change, to undergo change. It takes a few more years. If we carry on like this, new rules of online learning would come. All the participants should be open with the video. Only people who open the video would be getting attendance. Such new regulations would come. It takes time. That's what I feel.
So, can I just supplement that too? What happens
Please.
is now there is a technology where the video can be, in a noding mode continuously. That can happen. But taking to the examples of students participating in Arts Fest in an online mode, the schools have been conducting Arts Fest and other competitions. The students were actively participating in it. They could share their video, they participated in it, and they enjoyed it also. Because there was active involvement in learning. They got a role to play. If there is a program, if one person is doing the prayer song, that person will actively involved in it. If the other person is doing a welcome, that person will be involved in it. So that is why I said, combining these two, as what you said, the culture change and the active involvement will definitely change the pattern of education in an online mode. That is what I feel. Okay, Jojo sir, I appreciate your valuable point also there.
Thank you, teacher.
So, I hope all queries are over, right? Shall I move to the next section? Okay, thank you all. We appreciate your kind and active participation in this deliberation. We are moving to the last segment of this program to express our sincere gratitude to each one present here and making this program a wonderful and successful one. Now I invite Mrs. Divya S. Pushpan to deliver the vote of thanks. So over to you, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Are you there? Sunila, are you there?
Yes, Priya.
Yes. I think Divya S. ma'am is not there. So can you please?
Yes. Thank you, one and all present here. First of all, let me thank our principal, Dr. K.Y. Bendick sir. Because of his initiative, we are gathered here. Thank you, Bendick sir, for such a great insight in depth, which you initiated. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next, I would like to thank our guest of honor, Sunila Thomas, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a great talk. Knowing our learner is very much important for each and everyone. Most of us related to teaching field, and it is very much important for us to know our learners. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful talk, ma'am. Thank you, Sunila, ma'am. It really gave a great insight for all of us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me thank our research coordinator, Dr. Bindu, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here and giving us this opportunity. And let me thank our dear Dr. Joju Johnson. He was our research coordinator who takes our insight up to such a great level. Thank you so much, Joju sir, for being here and giving us guideship and way to move on. Thank you so much. And thank you each and everyone for being here, all the research guides, all the teachers, all the participants. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you, Sunila. So, so it's onset of this occasion or this talk series. Just we had a wonderful section and wonderful evening with a vibrant and a very efficient personality, Dr. Sunila ma'am. Once again, thank you. Thank you all those who have presented here. And so let's stand for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, Ansi ma'am, for all the technical support. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Jojo sir? Hello.
എന്റെ ദൈവമേ ഇതും പഠിക്കാനുണ്ട്
Sanala, leave here, Sanala, leave here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sanala, can you copy the feedback link and WhatsApp me, please?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I find it difficult to fill in. Please copy it and send it.
Sorry, sir. The
Okay?
audio is not clear, sir. Sorry, sir.
The screen is fluctuating. I fail to work on the link. Please copy the link and send me, please.
Sir,
Yeah, WhatsApp me. Hello?
which link, sir?
Sandhya?
So which
Hello?
link?
Am I clear?
Feedback form link?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
feedback
Which
form
link?
link.
Which link, sir?
Feedback,
Okay,
feedback
okay, sir.
link,
Okay, sir.
feedback. Because my screen has got
Through
a
mail
problem. It's
or
moving
WhatsApp, sir?
and it is not responding. WhatsApp me. Okay, I will switch off and I will
Okay,
restart the phone. Okay.
okay, sir. Thank you.